I was saying that in the English modules, we usually have from question 1 till 15. These are supposed to be reading questions. And from 16 till 27, you will find the writing questions. In order to be managing our time well, we usually start with the writing questions because they are less time consuming. And this is the first skill you guys need to know well and to manage very well. Okay, because time management is one of the important skills that you guys need in order to like get a high score. It's not only about the rules that you studied by heart, it's not only about the strategies that you master so well, it's about also time management and stress control. So this has to do with the time management skill. And of course, when you sleep well the night before the test, you can have your stress control to a great extent. Okay, guys, you can be the most brilliant student, but if you are not able to control your stress, this can cause a real problem. You don't have to be stressed that much. I know it's normal to feel stressed, but don't let this feeling overcome your potentials and your knowledge and affect you negatively in the test. Okay, so tip number 1, you have to start with the writing questions because they are less time consuming. Of course, you're going to be very confident when it comes to the writing questions if you are so confident with the knowledge you have about the writing rules. And these rules must be studied by heart, must be written several times in order to be, to be learned by heart. Yani you don't have to think twice when it comes to a writing rule. Now, we're going to do that now. We're going to start with the writing questions and then we will get to the reading ones. The writing questions, of course, if we try the last question, the last question, let's assume that this is question number 27. This is the last. I'm going to move from the very bottom of the test, the very last question, till the beginning, okay, till the very beginning of the module. So this, let's assume that this is number 27. And this type of questions, you will find it at the very end, which we call the rhetorical synthesis question, okay? Or you can call it the note taking. You will find some notes and then you will find the goal. The goal is written in the question prompt, and you will find the choices, the 4 choices. The first thing you need to know is that we have to deal with the goal, okay, as the first step. We check the key elements of the goal. The student wants to indicate which category most routine diplomatic correspondence belongs in, okay? So which category most routine diplomatic correspondence belongs in, based on how sensitive information is classified, based on how sensitive how sensitive information is classified. So we have here a goal we need to achieve. We have some elements you need to include on your best answer, in your best answer, based on something also given to you here, based on how sensitive information is classified. Listen, guys, when you read the goal and you feel like you might not be able to know exactly what the right answer might be, either because you can't understand the requirement so well, or the words are complicated for you to understand, or you might be given inaccurate information in the choices, you can get confused. In this case, if you feel all these aspects while you're dealing with this type of question, then you must go and consult the notes. Most of the time, we don't have to consult the notes. Most of the time, we don't have to read the notes. But in case you feel the question is unclear, in case you get this fear of falling in the trap of incorrect information, in case you feel you cannot understand so well the requirements of the goal or the key elements of the goal, definitely you have to go and read the notes. It's not something that you're gonna do incorrectly. Okay. Okay, Hamza, thank you so much for joining. You're gonna be the co-host now. You can send the links. Hamza will send the links for you guys, the links of the YouTube channel, the Instagram, the TikTok, the various social media channels. You can find any thing you want there, anything you want there, inshallah. طيب. Judy, I'd like you to help me reading the notes, please, if you don't mind.
Sure. The U.S. government classifies sensitive information according to the degree to which disclosure could affect the nation's security. Information that could cause damage to national security is classified as confidential. Information that could cause serious damage to the national security is classified as secret. Most routine diplomatic correspondence, if disclosed, could cause damage but not serious damage to the national security. Diplomatic correspondence includes communication with both allies and adversaries.
Thank you
What we
so
need
much.
in this question are the
Yes,
2 points after the first, like the second and third points.
that's perfect. After reading the notes, you have to assign the very notes that will be related to your best answer. So here we have classifications. We need the classifications because it's required here. And most importantly, we need most routine diplomatic correspondence. Okay, correspondence. I'm sorry, just a second. Hamza shared with you the links. So we need this one. We need this one, we need this one. So here we got to know that the information that caused damage to national security is classified as confidential, and information that could cause serious damage to national security is classified as secret. Now, most routine diplomatic correspondence, if disclosed, if they are revealed, or if all of this is revealed, could cause damage but not serious. So this one is related to this classification,
Confidential.
which is confidential. So I will remove this one. Okay, I will remove this one. I need these pieces of information in my best answer. So having a look at the choices, what do you think the answer might be?
It's C.
Yes, that's great. Amazing. Having the potential to damage nationality security if disclosed. Most routine diplomatic correspondence is classified as confidential. That's great. Thank you so much. You helped me a lot. Let's move to another question. And yes, the student wants to emphasize the sample collected from Sarah do Italshia, okay, or Itashia. So we want to emphasize, so I want to stress, I want to state it clearly, the sample collected from this place, okay, from this place. So we can ask someone to help us. Yes, yeah, Ahmed Khalid, go ahead, dear.
Yes, miss.
Would you
Uh,
like to check the choices first, or يعني I mean, do you need to consult the
no, I should read the notes.
you prefer to read the notes? Okay.
Dona Maria do Carmo Bandeira was a Brazilian botanist. Between 1924 and 1941, she collected approximately 800 botanical samples. She collected a sample of Polytrichum juniperium perennum from Serra de Itatiaia in Maua in February of 1925. She collected a sample of SG from Ponte do Inferno in Corcovado in March of 1925. Polytrichum juniperium and Sphagnum gracilescens are both species of moss.
So which one do you think يعني the most important piece of note?
The third
Yes,
point,
amazing. That's the one we need. That's the one we need. Yes. So which answer we have to go for?
B.
Okay. Among the many botanical samples Donna Maria do Carmo collected was PJ, a species of moss she collected from Serra do this place. Thank you so much, dear. I guess we could have gone for the choices immediately because we need a sample from this place. So uh, I guess all of them won't work. Um, يعني except for letter B. You could have gone for the choices immediately since يعني the requirements are not that um, are not that unclear. They are clear. Okay, thank you so much, dear. Let's move to a new question type, which has to do with the transitions. And transitions, guys, يعني definitely you have seen the word transition. And these are transitions. Each one of them conveys a certain relationship, conveys a certain relationship. You need to know the relationship of each transition word. And you need to read the sentence that has the blank and the sentence before it in order to know which relationship is presented here between these two sentences. Okay, so these are the two sentences, the sentence that has the blank and the sentence that is before it. Okay, guys, we don't care about the sentence after. يعني if there is a sentence here, we don't care about it. We care about the sentence that has the blank and we call it the containing sentence. This is the sentence that contains the transition and the sentence that is before it. Okay, we can ask one of our students in order to help us answer this question. Yes, yeah, Alia. Go ahead, dear.
Okay. In 1949, Frank Zamboni developed an ice rink
Resurfacing.
resurfacing machine. As Zamboni's machine moved along the rink's surface, it first scraped off the top layer of ice. Blank, it sprayed water into the deep grooves left behind the customer's skates. Lastly, it smoothed over the newly formed ice. Okay, so for the answer choices, for example, it gives an example.
Mm-hmm.
Next is
Example. And this is like from from general to specific, right? From
yes,
general يعني for you guys to choose. For example, لازم you have to see إنه the first sentence is introducing a general idea, فكرة عامة كده, a general idea. Then the sentence that has the blank must offer a specific example to that general idea. Letter B.
sequence.
Sequence, and for sequence you need to notice order, steps, okay, process, okay, in which you find a kind of what order, first, second, next, last, then so on. Similarly,
Comparison, it's comparing two similar stuff
yeah, X
or showing the
versus
similarity.
Y when it comes to a similarity, stressing a similarity between them. Okay, and contrast.
It's contradiction. It shows contrast between them.
Yes, contradiction. And we have here similarity plus the same tone, the same tone. يعني if I have positive, then I must have positive in both. But if we have here a contradiction by contrast, X versus Y, but you will find a difference and a different tone, or different tones بقى, because they are two different tones. So what do you think, يا دكتورة عالية?
I think it's B
Mhm.
because in the text we said it first scraped, so that was the first step, and then it came the blank, and then we said lastly. So this shows a sequence.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And let me tell you that sequence questions are very easy and very manageable to answer, and you can answer them in no time. بس في something interesting about the sequence group. You cannot erase or eliminate the copycats in the sequence group in case the two answers or two of the choices belong to that group but have different meanings, like previously and later. Both of them can show sequence, but I cannot cross them out since they have different meanings. So you need to make sure and read the text well in order to know which one is required in the answer. Okay. طيب, another transition question, and definitely you must have noticed that by contrast and nevertheless can show contradiction. And usually I'm gonna tell you about what I personally do when I see I have a look. I have a look at the choices first. And if I see any kinds of copycats, I eliminate them. Contradiction. This is a contradiction as well. So I will يعني narrow down my choices. Instead of having 4 choices, I can have 2. Okay. Now, as a first step, I eliminated by contrast and nevertheless. Now I'm left with in fact and in other words. And I can remember that one of my students in the course told me, teacher, I don't know the clear difference between in fact and in other words, or emphasis and summary or restatement. First of all, in fact is stressing, so it's showing emphasis, okay? Emphasizing a certain fact, emphasizing a certain piece of information, supporting what has been mentioned earlier, proving it. Actually, so emphasis is like supporting with more details, and stating a fact. Okay, stating a fact. Okay, but in other words, you'll find that in other words is kind of a summary, or gives a brief statement to the exact idea mentioned previously. So as if I'm summarizing and making it simpler, in a simpler way. So this is not like, in fact, I'm not making it simpler. I'm trying to prove it, to support it with more details. I'm trying to state in a fact to support what I have mentioned. Okay, I'm not restating. I'm not summarizing. Okay, a brief restatement. I'm sorry, let me write it well. A brief restatement. Okay. طيب, let me choose one of the gentlemen to help me answer this one. Fawaz, go ahead, يا فواز.
Okay. By Michael Gora notes that the novelist Henry James lived in a world of second thoughts. Frequently, tinkering with his novels and stories after their initial publication. However, the differences between the 1881 first edition and the 1908 edition of his novel A Portrait of Lady are extreme. Even by James' standard, some critics regard the two
Critics.
editions as two different novels altogether.
Mhm.
So the answer is B, in fact,
Why, doctor, you choose in fact?
because it is stressing on the point, like it is giving more detail.
To prove, to support the idea mentioned previously, right? I'm not restating, because if I'm restating, I didn't refer to critics here. Did I? I
No.
didn't. So it's not a restatement. Some critics regard the two editions as two different novels altogether. I didn't mention that here. Okay? I mean, some critics weren't mentioned regard the two editions as two different novels altogether. I didn't mention that. Okay, to restate it briefly here. In fact, is the best answer, as you said. So look here, the most important two sentences, guys, are these ones. This one, I mean, the sentence that has the blank, and the sentence before it. So, however, the differences between this guy notes that novelist Henry James lived in a world of second thoughts, frequently tinkering with his novels and the stories. Tinkering means adjusting, modifying, changing. يعني he has those second thoughts. Let me write this. No, I will write that. What if I cancel this? What if I add this? Okay. He is tinkering with his novels and stories after their initial publication, after they initially published, sorry. He can in a later edition can change and modify anything about his novels. So, however, what's wrong? The differences between his first edition and 1908 edition of his novel A Portrait of a Lady are so extreme. يعني they are not such fine adjustments. لا, the differences are so extreme to the يعني extent that some critics regard the two editions as two different novels altogether. So I'm trying to prove how far, how extreme the differences are by giving an opinion about some or from some critics. I didn't refer to some critics in the previous sentence, so I'm not restating. So, in other words, is not the best answer. Thank you so much, dear. Now we have the same exact verb. When you see the same exact verb but different forms, you can either have subject-verb agreement or verb tense or finite and non-finite. طيب, the first option is that I try subject-verb agreement first. Subject-verb agreement means plural versus singular. Okay? If I find the choices, all the choices are giving me plural and singular or singular, this is subject-verb agreement, and the tip here, we usually follow the 3-to-1 hack, and it always works. If we check the first one, it doesn't give me a singular. Yani I can say he focused and I can say they focused. So it's not giving me plural versus singular. Focused can be given both. So it is not subject-verb agreement. The second option is verb tense. So if all the choices will give me different tenses like what, guys? Present, past, or a future, then it's a verb tense question. Here, obviously, okay, or future. Here, this one will not give me a tense. Focusing is not, it's a participle, present participle form. So it's not a tense, it's not present perfect, it's not present simple, present or past simple or future simple, not any of these forms, present perfect, past perfect, future perfect, nothing at all. It's a participle, okay? Participle. So if we have participle, so this one we call non-finite. Non-finite, so it's the third option, finite versus non-finite. Okay, finite, by finite we mean the main verb can act as a main verb. By non-finite we mean not a main verb, cannot be a main verb. يعني I cannot use it as a main verb. طيب, here I have this can be a main verb. Yes, this is finite. And this is a main verb. I can say he focuses, they focused, they focus. So this is a finite verb. يعني the three of them can be finite, and this one is non-finite. Okay? If I'm gonna apply the 3-to-1, I can here apply the 3-to-1 case, 3-to-1 hack. But I must make sure that this hack works with finite and non-finite, because sometimes it doesn't work. Yani it works 100% with subject-verb agreement, but not always with finite and non-finite. So all all what I have to do is to read the sentence that has the blank. And if I find the main verb, then I will eliminate A, B, and D, and I go for C. Okay, let's make use of Osama's, let me use of Sama's help. Yes, Sama, Osama. Yes, dear, can you please, Sama, read the sentence that has the blank?
Yeah. A plano-convex lens, the laser on the center of a 10 millimeter long crystal ensured a spot size of 85 micrometers.
Yeah, you must have noticed that Sama skipped this non-essential part because actually I don't need it. I do not need it. طيب, we have something. While you're reading, while you're dealing with any of the writing questions, you must make sure that you know the subject and the main verb. Assign the subject and the main verb of the sentence. If you find the main verb in this sentence, yes, Sama, please.
Yes, the subject is lens and the verb is ensured.
That's a subject. And this ensured, this is the main verb. Okay, guys, so the plano-convex lens, blah, 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 ensured a spot size of 85 micrometers. The trick here is that they can give you many words that separate the main subject from its main verb for you guys to get confused and to forget about this main verb. Please, the most important tip, two tips actually here, is that you need to read the sentence. Read the sentence that has the blank, from the beginning, from its beginning to its end, That's the tip number one. Tip number two, assign the main subject and its main verb. Don't be tricked by the many words, phrases, and non-essential elements between them. Okay, so What might be the answer now, ya Sama? Okay, Sama, you must raise your hand once again, ya Sama. Yes, dear.
Sorry. The answer is C.
Is C. So that's 3-1, and it worked here. Since I have a main verb, I don't need any other main verbs. Okay. Since I don't have and in order to make a parallelism or anything, we don't have also a relative pronoun that, who, whom, that, who, which. Okay, to add a main verb. فخلاص, it's a non-finite verb. Thank you so much, ya Sam. And this question has to do with the pronouns. It's a pronoun question. And these questions, guys, يعني I'm giving you tips. But طبعا in the exam, you will not be writing tips or notes or anything. These questions should be answered in no time, okay? But you must have noticed that we read them in no time. يعني it's only a matter of one sentence to be read, the sentence that has the blank. Okay, the pronoun here that we need to go for. طبعا here you must notice that these are two words, they and are. It's not one pronoun. It is also, or it has. This is not also a one pronoun option. And it's here can be plus a noun, and also here plus a noun. This is singular, and this is plural. خلاص, you have all the data written for you. Now it's an easy task. Go ahead, yeah. Okay, Ragad, go ahead, ya Ragad. Go ahead, honey. Which answer you read it first?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Also, the epic poem, The Poem of the Cid, dates back to the 12th century. Complaining narrative still competitive readers today.
What do you think the answer might be?
B.
Yes, referring to the epic poem, right? It's only one poem.
Yeah.
We need only one singular pronoun, because it's referring to a singular noun. Thank you so much, dear.
No.
Now, a punctuation question, and this punctuation question is interesting because it might be confusing for some people. But let me tell you one tip كده that can make your task easier. Now, while studying our writing rules, you must have written one day that the single dash is equal to the colon. So in case there isn't another dash, okay, then the colon is equal to this single dash. So they are considered to be copycats. And copycats must be eliminated. Okay, now I have two dashes, and these two dashes are not, خلاص, they are done. These two dashes are done. Setting off a non-essential piece of information. We're gonna read from the beginning, from the beginning here. Long attributed Jack Louis David, the preeminent neoclassical painter of his day. Okay, let me change the color for you. The 1801 painting Marie Josephine Charlotte gained, this one is the subject, the painting, blah, 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 gained, that's the verb, fresh attention in the 1990s when art historians discovered that the painting, that's another subject. I need its verb. The part in between the two dashes is non-essential. I don't care about it. خلاص. The painting was, that's the verb for the subject, the painting. Was what? Was actually the work of the little known of little-known French portrait artist Marie Denis Villers. So here I don't want any separation between little-known French portrait artist. This is the occupation. Occupation means a job or title. So we have occupation means the job or the title of someone, plus proper noun, no punctuation. No punctuation. We have here was actually the work of little-known French portrait artist Marie Denis. Which artist? Marie Denis. طب teacher, why didn't we add like a colon or a single dash or even a comma? Because, you know, of a tiny reason. If I have found here a little, this article, this tiny article, was actually the work of a little-known French portrait artist, I would have put here a colon or a single dash or even a comma. And in this case, the three of them can be right. How come I can have like three possible answers to be correct? So the only different answer here is gonna be letter B, means the artist's name is essential to know which artist. This is the artist. This is the occupation acting as an adjective for the proper noun Marie Denis. It must be written. Don't separate this occupation, which is acting as an adjective for Marie. Okay, and it's proper and the proper noun itself. Okay, so it must be essentially written. No separation, no punctuation at all should be separating them. Let's go for the modifier, and I want you to focus, please, because guys, let me tell you something that you might need to know. Remember that writing questions, no one told us that the writing questions have less scores than reading questions. Okay, so one question like that, like this one, which has to do with a modifier question, okay, shouldn't be perceived as a question that is worth low marks or low score than a reading question, than an inference reading question. No one would ever tell you that. Okay, so you need to master and to secure the points of all the writing questions because they are not less important than the reading ones. Okay, so let's see here. Check this one. This is a modifier question. I'm gonna ask someone to help me, but I will give you some tips that will facilitate your mission in case you're dealing with questions with their different levels of difficulty. Now, having trained as astronauts for years, modifier questions, guys, as you all know, will start with the sentence that has the blank, will start with an introductory part. This is the modifier. This is the modifier. It's an introductory phrase, okay, followed by a comma. Okay, then the space. This is the space. And in order to fill in this space, you must make sure that the subject should start with the most suitable subject, the subject that can be described by the modifier. Okay, فالسبجect ده you can ask yourself who or what, plus whether this who or what is singular or plural. If you can say that. If you can identify if it is singular or plural from the modifier, that will be perfect. So having trained as astronauts, okay, so I must be referring to plural, and I must be asking about who can be acting as astronauts. So who means people, a person or people. But in this case, it's gonna refer to people because I'm asking about astronauts. Now our mission is super duper easy. Okay, يلا يا هشام.
So who trained as astronauts? It will be the 5 crew members.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Of course, not the date. Of course, not it, because it's referring to an object and a singular object. And of course, this is not the space, which is also an object and singular. The 5 crew members are people, plural, and can be trained. If we want to make sure, يعني, especially with يعني more difficult questions, you can just put them here. 5 crew members have trained as astronauts. You can only remove this ing, okay? 5 crew members have trained as astronauts for years. This is perfect. This is a perfect choice. Thank you so much. And this, we're done with the writing questions. We reviewed some rules related to the rhetorical synthesis questions, the punctuation questions, the, like pronoun questions, the modifier questions, the non-finite questions. And of course, I gave you an idea about also subject-verb agreement and verb tense. When do you deal with them, or how you deal with them? So we need to take a 10-minute break. The 10-minute break is for praying because Al-Asr has been called for. Just give you yourself يعني a mental break to pray, and at the same time to get ready for the very precious strategies or tips related to the reading questions. So inshallah, after 10 minutes, or let them be 8 minutes, because in order to be sharp 3:30, to be back at 3:30. Back at 3:30, inshallah. It's a prayer break. Okay. Back. I'm gonna start with the inference question. The inference question, this one. Definitely, we got to know that this is an inference question because of this question prompt and because of this space at the very end of the text. So this one is an inference question. Okay. The most important part that I need to focus on is the last 2 sentences. The last 2 sentences. Okay. Let it be, I guess there is, the end of the text. It can be the last sentence if it is long, the last 2 sentences if they are very connected, and most of the time they are connected. طيب, how about this one? يعني I shouldn't be reading them. No, you have to read this part, but in order to understand this part. يعني this part is so essential and important for me to understand the most important part at the end in order to be able to successfully complete in it. The The skill lies in your ability to save your time by simplifying the information you're reading in order to avoid rereading the text, and to link the pieces of information, these simple pieces of information, to serve your purpose, completing the text at the end with the same elements, the same tone of the part at the end. So we have to focus on this part, its key elements, and its tone. Okay, the key elements and tone. But you have to skim this part, simplify it. Okay, and also simplify this part definitely. Here, scan and simplify. Okay, right. We need someone to read this text and see whether we're gonna be able to understand or not, or how we're gonna deal with hard questions. I mean hard words. Okay, let's go for يلا يا حبيبة. حبيبة.
Yes.
Yes, dear.
Okay. Microbial fuel cells, MFCs, capitalize on the ability of some species of bacteria to metabolize metal, liberating electrons. The bacteria form a dense biofilm on the surface of an electron-collecting anode, but moving the electrons from the bacterial cytoplasm to an external electrode requires that the electrons pass through a series of intermediate oxidation redox reactions. Accordingly, MFC power output rarely exceeds a density of 0.3 milliwatts per square centimeter. In an experiment, researchers added silver nanoparticles to carbon paper coating the anode in an MFC. The resulting power density was 0.66 milliwatt per square centimeter. Since metals such as silver exhibit high electrical conductivity, the researchers hypothesized that. Okay, so since we're focusing on the last part, so our answer has to include the silver nanoparticles, and the last part was positive to it since the density increased.
Yes, salam. Silver, increased power
The density.
and
Or power.
conductivity, and a positive tone. That's my student. خلاص, she knows exactly the main elements, the tone. Now, my answer must have a reference to that. I will exclude, and this is the process of elimination. I'll exclude anything that has nothing to do with the elements I wrote here. طب teacher, how about this part that I kept reading? Yes, I got to know what MFCs are and what is the problem with them. I found out that, yes, microbial fuel cells capitalize on the ability of some species of bacteria to metabolize metal, liberating electrons. I didn't refer to, bacteria or anything here. Here, خلاص. The bacteria form a dense biofilm on the surface of electron-collecting anode, but moving the electrons from the bacterial site is, this is my point. Any transition, especially the contradiction transition, tells me about the problem of the text. Yes, what's the problem with all what I've read? Moving the electrons from the bacterial cytoplasm to an external electrode requires that the electrons pass through a series of intermediate oxidation reduction. What are those oxidation reduction reactions? These are the redox. Okay. Accordingly, MFC power output rarely exceeds a density of 0.30 milliwatts per square centimeter. So there is a problem. It can't be, the power cannot exceed or rarely exceeds this density. So they had an experiment. So I have here a problem. They have an experiment, and this is the solution. My answer should complete the problem? No. Should complete the experiment? No. Should refer to the solution? Yes. So anything refers to the problem or the experiment, I don't care. I care about the solution. And the solution must be positive and must be related to the advantage of using silver. That's it. That's it. And by the way, that's a hard question. Apply the process of elimination يا حبيبة as I taught you.
Okay. Silver nanoparticles may increase the metabolic processes of the bacteria, thereby increasing the number of free electrons available to transfer the electrode. Metabolic processes of the bacteria was only mentioned in the beginning, and it's not related to the solutions we
Amazing.
need.
That has to do with the problem. Wait, I don't
Yes.
care. Yes, metabolic wasn't referred to here. It was
Only at the
here.
beginning.
Related to the problem because I mentioned something, but and I mentioned something contradicting. I have something related to whatever is stated there. Guys, it's an English test. It's not a science test. I don't care about the scientific information. All what I want about, all what I need to focus on is the part that I need to complete, not to focus on understanding scientific complicated terms that I don't care about. Letter B.
As the density of the biofilm increases, the series of redox reactions may accelerate independent of the presence of silver nanoparticles. Not independent, it is actually dependent on the silver nanoparticles.
Okay, as the density of biofilm increases, the series of redox reactions may accelerate independent of. Notice, yani this expression is so dangerous. Independent of, yani it's not related to, separate from the presence of silver. Oh my God, like I want the silver. I want my completion must be referring to silver nanoparticles, must be highlighting their role. So how come I'm saying independent of, separate from? I want to highlight the role of silver, okay, not to be separated from it. Yes.
Yes. Electrons may be conducted directly to the electrode before the silver nanoparticles catalyze the redox reactions. It wasn't mentioned that the electrons are directly to the electrode. It's not related to the last part as well.
Excellent. Electrons may be conducted directly to the electrode before the silver nanoparticles catalyze the redox. Before and after, first and last, earlier and later, all these words are very dangerous as well if you don't have these sequence words here. Is my problem? I don't have a problem. يعني here I'm talking about the solution. Is the solution is the solution related to a sort of sequence before or after or later or previous or I don't know. So this one is not, يعني these words, guys, شايفين? This is an English test. This is what I care about. يعني independent of, that's يعني describing a description. Before, after, previous, later. These are, like words that show sequence. Okay. Letter D.
Silver nanoparticles may allow electrons to bypass the series of redox reactions and transfer directly to the electrode. Yes, it's directly the same thing as what's stated in the last point. And yes, the electrons have to bypass the series of redox reactions. That's why the density increases.
Excellent. Silver nanoparticles may allow electrons to avoid the series of redox reactions that can transfer directly to the electrode. That's why it was يعني the resulting power density was 0.66 after being 0.30, so it increased Since metals such as silver exhibit high electrical conductivity, the researchers hypothesized that there must be an advantage for using silver. The only one that focused on silver nanoparticles, given an advantage to avoid the series of redox reactions that reduced its power, is letter D. طيب if I'm gonna get confused between two answer choices, I'll be between D and A, and because A also is focusing on silver nanoparticles, but here it's referring to something that is not related to the last part, to the solution, to the advantage of silver nanoparticles. So letter D is the best answer. Okay? Thank you so much, ya Habiba. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
Let's go for another one, and also it's a like inference question. An inference question. So خلاص, you got to know, guys. I'll focus on the last part, the last two sentences, okay? And in order to understand them, I must go over this one in order to avoid anything that can be related to the first part, in case these elements are not mentioned in this last part that I need to complete. Okay, don't get frustrated or intimidated by the length of the text. Neither the length of the text nor the technical terms used in the text, because as I told you, I'm an English teacher. I'm not interested. I'm not into science. I'm not into these complications of scientific terms. Be sure that you are not being tested on how hard the scientific terms are, the ones that are used in the text. No, they are testing you on how you're able to link the ideas and know that there is a cause and effect, a compare and contrast, a positive versus negative, a certain adjective versus a certain adverb. That's all. It's not about the science itself at all. Let's go for this one. I'll need the help of Yalla Abdurrahman. One young lady and one gentleman. Yes.
To address the susceptibility of materials used in components of high-performance machinery, such as aircraft engines, to creep, which is deformation that is induced by persistent mechanical stress and that often occurs at elevated temperatures, materials researchers have developed silicon carbide, SiC fibers, for producing aerospace composites. Testing the thermomechanical properties of several commercially available SiC fibers, RTB et al. Found that in comparison with two polymer-derived SiC fibers, a nitrogen-treated SiC fiber exhibited a lower minimum creep rate, a measure of the rate at which a stress-exposed material deforms at a constant temperature and uniaxial load. The findings suggest that blank. So here, we need to focus on the thermomechanical properties, and we need to find a comparison of the two polymer-derived SiC and the nitrogen one, showing that the nitrogen one had a lower minimum creep rate, meaning
Amazing.
it
Yeah.
deformed at a lower rate when temperature and the load is constant. These are the main.
Amazing, ya Abdurrahman, but let me be frank with you. Let me be honest. Some of the attendees now have a problem understanding the text. I'm sure of that. May you please raise your hand if you have a problem understanding the text? You have a problem. You might, if this question is present in tomorrow's trial, and you see it for the first time, you might spend much time trying to figure out what they want to tell you. I can see some people, some of them are saying that, yeah, MashaAllah, the students are excellent. By the way, this is the first time for them to see يعني the text يعني these questions are not repeated يعني they didn't take it in the course. بس I'm showing you a sample of the students, especially the ones I chose for reading. يعني some of the students I chose for writing questions weren't in the course. But the reading questions now, these are my students. You see how, mashallah, they are very, very skillful when it comes to because we have been trained in so many sessions. Let me simplify the thing for you the way I did with them. Now, Abdurrahman understood the text. But for those who have a problem to understand the text and to deal with such text, I would recommend that you, after reading each sentence, you simplify each sentence in very, very, very few words or letters even. Okay, the words that you guys can understand. Okay, let's try كده. Because I made this game or I did this trick before with my students. فهنا مثلا the first sentence, to address the susceptibility of materials used in components of high performance machinery such as aircraft engines. يعني let me assume that you didn't understand any of the words I've read, except for machinery, aircraft engines, to creep, I don't know. Here it's يعني defined. Deformation. D is negative. Deformation that is induced by the persistent mechanical stress and that often occurs at elevated temperatures. So I can find here a problem, negative, because of the creep. This is negativity because it's deformation means تشوه, something that is the opposite of regular formation. Deformation. Because of what? Of stress. Because of stress and the temperature. I guess that all of you now know that there is a problem. Creep has something wrong because of stress and temperature only. طيب, the second part, okay, let me complete. Materials researchers have developed silicon carbide fibers for producing aerospace composites. Okay, that's why يعني this might help. Materials, okay, and that let me, such as air engines, to creep materials, such as aircraft engines, to creep materials researchers have developed. So we have here researchers have developed something, so there is a solution. What is the solution? Silicon carbide, SiC, that's the solution for producing aerospace composites. Composites have to do with compounds, combine the materials together. طيب, testing the thermomechanical properties of several commercially available SiC fibers. اللي هو SiC fibers, I said it's solution, that's positive. This is supposed to be having a positive tone. Those guys found, yes, what did they find? That in comparison with two polymer derived SiC fibers, a nitrogen treated SiC fiber exhibited a lower minimum creep rate. I said that creep is negative. When you have lower with SiC treated, but let me write I have to write the positive thing here. With treated nitrogen treated SiC fiber, what happens? Lower creep rate. This is positive or negative, Abdurrahman? Are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay, when I say lower creep, lower deformation.
Negative. Yes, that's positive.
Positive, amazing. That's positive. When I say that the deformation, التشوه هيقل, that's positive. طيب, a measure of the rate at which a stress exposed material deforms at a constant temperature and on an axial load. The findings suggest that. So lower creep rate, this means that positive performance for this nitrogen treated SiC fiber. So yeah, Abdurrahman, the findings suggest that something here should be written. The thing that should be written here should be positive or negative?
Of course, positive.
Positive, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it must be positive. Okay. طيب, let's go for the choices, and here is the skill of applying the process of elimination. Anything that is not related, anything that is the opposite of the tone that I require will be eliminated. Yes, dear.
A, unlike the two polymer-derived SiC fibers, the nitrogen-treated SiC fiber can substantially inhibit creep, provided that temperatures and loads are consistent. This is probably wrong because creep is a property. It cannot be changed, though it's
Yes.
positive.
It's positive, but here it tells you inhibit creep. Now I'll take you back. Creep here was mentioned where here? Exhibited a lower minimum creep rate. Did it totally inhibit it?
No.
No. Inhibit means prevent.
Stop. Yeah, prevent.
Or stop. No, I said when I check بقى the word creep in the last part. What are the adjectives? What are the words in the context around the word creep? Is it inhibit or I have exhibited a lower minimum? So it's not inhibit. Okay, letter B.
Aerospace composites containing the nitrogen-treated SiC fiber may have the ability to withstand mechanical stress for a longer period of time than can aerospace composites containing either of the two polymer-derived SiC fibers. So this is the correct answer since it has all of the elements. The ability of the treated SiC fiber to withstand, meaning a positive rate for a longer period.
Yes, exactly. I have here
Yes,
positive tone. If compared to the two polymer-derived SiC fibers, nitrogen exhibited a lower minimum creep rate, a measure of the rate at which stress exposed material deforms at a constant temperature and load. There is a reference to stress, but positively when it comes to nitrogen-treated SiC fiber, because it's gonna withstand or resist the stress for a longer period. So here, lower creep rate, positive performance, resisting the stress for longer periods. Yes, this is logical, but I will choose it, but I must check the others to make sure that the others are completely wrong. Letter C.
The two polymer-derived SiC fibers likely hold similar potential for reducing the creep resistance of materials exposed to stress and elevated temperature, thus prolonging the lifespan of aerospace. This is wrong. We never mentioned the treated SiC fiber.
Yeah, I أصلا these two polymer-derived SiC fibers must be negative, but here I'm referring to them positively. That's not the required. That's the opposite. Yes. Letter D.
Composites based on the two polymer-derived SiC fibers have chemical properties that may improve the mechanical and thermostability of aerospace equipment to a greater extent than two composites based on the nitrogen-treated SiC. This is opposite, just as the last choice.
Thank you so much, dear. Amazing. You did a great job, Ya Abdurrahman. I'm so proud of you. Just like Habiba, mashallah. Let's go for another one. Now, which finding, if true, would most directly support the underlying claim? احنا عندنا which finding? This is a textual evidence question. Textual evidence question, and I have here the underlined claim. This is the underlined claim. I want to support. يعني the most important thing is when you see which finding or which quotation, you must look at whether the finding should support or weaken. Okay. This is the underlined part that I need to support. For such questions, you need to focus on the claim or the underlined part or whatever conclusion you have, يعني according to this word. Here I have a sort of a person used what? Used, this is 1, this is 2. To calculate, this is the purpose. The purpose used what? To do what? So this is the purpose. They calculate the coordinates of the planets, okay. And these calculations, yes, one more idea, and gives you an additional idea. And these calculations contain the earliest, referring to a very early example of the decimal point. So I'm talking about the decimal point, okay? Trigonometry to calculate that's very positive. Very positive. So anything negative will be eliminated, referring to earliest type. And the guy is Bianchini. Okay, so this is the focus. In order to understand this part, you need to skim this part. Okay, يلا حنين, go ahead. Go ahead يا حنين.
For years, Christopher Clovis' work, 1593 work, Astrolabium, had the earliest known evidence of a decimal point, which was in a sine table's interpolation column. However, math historian Glenn Van Vermeulen posited that Venetian merchant worked as an astrological consultant, used the mathematical symbol approximately 150 years before Clovis did. Van asserts that in his role as a consultant, Bianchini used trigonometry to calculate the coordinates of the planets, and these calculations contain the earliest example of the decimal point.
The information right before the underlined part tells us إنه Bianchini ده Bianchini, okay, used the mathematical symbol approximately 150 years, used this symbol اللي هي الديسيمال symbol يعني 150 years. Why I refer to the time? Because here I have referred to the time as well. Before whom? Before Calvius. Calvius, okay? طيب, Bianchini used trigonometry to calculate the coordinates of the planets, and these calculations contain the earliest example of decimal point. يبقى he used a decimal point. ودي كانت ال earliest example. Just a second. There's something. Okay. طيب, let me, I guess I lost the notes I wrote. Just a second, technical error. Okay, can you hear me? Okay, now Hanin, raise your hand once again. Okay, thank you so much. Yes, dear.
Yes.
Continue.
Yes, so the first sentence talking generally about Clovis, about he has the earliest known evidence of decimal point, and then we have a contradiction, which is, however, it says not only him, but Bianchini had also used decimal point.
Yes.
Yes.
So let's go for supporting this one, letter A.
Okay. Several dots appear in both Clavis and Bianchini, but the dot was commonly used in manuscripts in the 14,000s and 15,000s as a means to separate letters or whole numbers from each other. Here it talks about both of them, and then says the dot was commonly used in manuscripts, so this was never mentioned in the text. It doesn't support the underlined portion.
Excellent. So letter A, it's not supporting that Bianchini used trigonometry and used these calculations, and his calculations contain the earliest example of decimal point. We're talking here about both of them. So this is not A, and it's used commonly, was commonly used, commonly, like common by everyone. فنو this is not supporting إنه Bianchini is the first one to use it. This is not supporting. Letter B.
Yes. B. In Clavis, he gives several examples of both interpolation and inverse interpolation using decimal numbers and justifies the method to his readers by equating 45.7 with 457 tenths. Here it only talks about Clavis, doesn't mention Bianchini, and methods is a feature of our answer.
Exactly. So we're talking about this guy. Why you focus on this one? This is not supporting the point here. Letter C.
Anateo and Bianchini astronomical Latin manuscript from the 1440s. A dot appears between two numbers in a context that suggests that the value is not a whole number. This is the best answer because it talks about Bianchini and the decimal point.
The Bianchini and or Bianchini, it doesn't matter. And we have the decimal point used in his, in his manuscript. This is totally supporting letter, the claim, the underlined part. Letter D.
As recorded in his manuscript, some of Bianchini's calculations for the coordinates of the planets are inaccurate due to the use of whole numbers rather than non-whole number decimals. This is negative toward Bianchini, and we were talking positively about him, and doesn't mention the time.
Yes, didn't mention the thing, and didn't refer to the earliest time. Yes, so that's perfect. And this is how we answer these questions, guys. The process of elimination is really our score savior. And once you know the elements that you have to focus on, the guy, his method, his calculations, earliest example of decimal point, all of these elements must be supported by your best answer. Anything else that can support something else or can refer to an opposite idea should be eliminated immediately. Based on the text, thank you so much, ya Haneen, so proud. Based on the text, the author would most likely agree with which statement about the change observed in Grenada? And this question, let me handle it myself because it is repeated and recycled for many times and in many trials, but each time they can change the name of the city or the country they mention in the text. Based on the text, this is a reference to a detailed question. A detailed question. And in order to answer a detailed question, you must focus on the elements here of the question. The author would most likely agree with which statement about that change observed in Grenada. Okay, the change related to Grenada. Your answer must refer to the same idea, different words. Same idea, different words. Okay. In Granada, yes, use of solid fuel as a share of total household fuel use fell by more than a third between these 2 years. Such shifts, such changes are typically explained by appeal to the energy ladder. A model holding that fuel choice is mediated mainly by household income. And this especially high technology fuels displace solid fuels as incomes rise. But here there is a change in the use of solid fuel. What happened إنه الuse of solid fuel as a share of total household fuel as a share of total household fuel use fell. يعني its usage fell by more than third قل للتلت يعني between these 2 years. Such shifts, these changes are typically explained by, are referred to by the energy ladder. The energy ladder is referring to the household income. يعني once the household income الدخل بتاع البيت بيزيد ال use of solid fuel زي الفحم والwood بيقل. Okay. This guy's study of fuel use in Kenya shows how reductive, how simple, reductive this model is, however. Although income, of course, constrained fuel choice, بالرغم ان income that is referred to in the energy ladder, several factors actually, including the age of the household, had influenced decisions. يعني هنا في several factors influenced decisions. Okay, just a second, let me just make sure of something. Yeah, okay. I can, yes, choose someone to help me. Sorry for this interruption. Sorry for this interruption, guys. Yes, this one. يلا, let's go. Ahmed Ihab. Go ahead, يا أحمد. Letter A,
please.
يا أحمد. Yes, dear.
Beginning in 2000, high technology fuels became more readily available in Grenada, enabling households of various income levels to shift away from solid fuels.
What do you think?
Not really.
You're not, you don't agree with this one.
Yes.
You know why? Because it's talking about the availability and it's not related to the availability. We didn't say إنه high technology fuels became more readily available in Grenada. We didn't talk. When we talked about high technology fuels, we didn't talk about the availability, right?
Right.
Yes, letter B.
Solid fuel use declined in Grenada between 2000 and 2019 because changes in household income in that period made solid fuels more expensive relative to income.
Yes.
Kinda, yes.
Yes,
Kind
more
of.
expensive. Look يا أحمد إيهاب, when
Yeah.
we say more, be very cautious with the words, with the choices that have more. More available, more expensive. If you don't, more affordable. Okay? If
Yes.
you don't find this kind of comparison, then these are all features of wrong answers. And this is a very precious tip يا شباب. Okay?
Okay.
More than, more, less than, more, less, and so on. These comparison words, if they are not found, this comparison is not found in the in the text, because I say I want the same idea, but the different words. Okay, this same idea must be there. يعني must this same comparison must be there. No reference to the fact that solid fuels became more expensive relative to income, right? Are you still with me? Ahmed Ihab, are you still with me? Okay, yes, go ahead. Letter C.
Yes. Household incomes in Grenada rose from 2000 to 2019, which made high technology fuels relatively more affordable. No,
Household
because
incomes in Grenada rose, which made high technology. Can be.
it can be, but not really leaning towards it.
Okay, I will keep it يعني now since here it's telling you إنه household ففي shifts ففي high technology fuels displace solid fuels as incomes rise okay, maybe. Letter D.
The decline in solid fuel use in Grenada between 2000 and 2019 was not solely the result of changes in household income. It didn't talk about other factors, so no.
So what do you think the answer is?
C.
Okay, so you want to go for C. Okay, thank you so much, ya Ahmed. Let me choose someone else to see whether you guys agree. Yes, go ahead, ya Mariam. What do you
Yeah.
think? Can you hear me, ya Mariam? Please don't mute your mic unless you're done.
Yes, I
No
muted
problem.
accidentally. I think it's can you go up 1 second with that?
Yeah, sure. Let me يعني minimize.
It's D.
Okay. Why did you eliminate C? But your friend chose C.
It didn't make it more affordable.
Okay. Like in Grenada, use of solid fuel as a share of total household fuel use fell by more than a third between 2000 and 2019. Such shifts are typically explained by appeal to the energy ladder. A model holding the fuel choice is mediated mainly by affected mainly by household income, specifically high technology fuels displace solid fuels as incomes rise. Those guys' study of fuel use in Kenya shows how reductive this model is, however. Although income, of course, constrained fuel choice, income constrained بيحدد limited fuel choice, several factors including the age of the household had, for example, influenced decisions. So letter C, you eliminated it. Household incomes in Grenada rose from 2000 to 2019, which made high technology fuels relatively more affordable. Are you still with me, Mariam?
Yes,
Yes. So again, what's the reason you eliminated letter C?
because they didn't rise, they fell.
No, the use of solid fuel fell, right?
Yeah.
And not so here we have the letter C tells you, dear, household incomes in Grenada rose, and we didn't say that.
Yeah, it wasn't mentioned in the
Okay, it wasn't mentioned. Yeah, Ahmed Ihab, this part wasn't mentioned. I'm saying إنه لما جبت سيرة incomes rise, high technology fuels displace solid fuels as incomes rise. This is a fact. This is a piece of fact. I didn't mention that the incomes in Grenada rose. This is what an incident happened in 2000 to 2019. But when I mentioned the incomes the rise of incomes, I mentioned it as a fact not related to this period. Did you understand? Did you get it, Mariam? Did you get
Yes.
it, Ahmed? Ihab, let me refer to Ahmed because yes, yeah, Ahmed Ihab, did you get it now?
Yes, Miss.
Remember, or I told my students, guys, that remember that the tense, the tense, the tense of the verb matters because we're dealing with an English test. The rose, and here this is fuels this place that's present. That's a fact, not related to the incident in the past. So letter C is wrong, letter B is wrong, letter A is wrong. Okay, not mentioned, not mentioned. And here, invalid comparison, invalid also. I didn't talk about being more available. So this left us with letter D. The decline is in solid fuel in Grenada was not solely, not only the result of changes in household. Why? Because I'm asked about the author. The author. Haya Ahmed Ihab, the author would most likely agree with which statement about the author, and the author usually, يعني the author's opinion usually comes or is stated where? Tell me, after what, ya Ahmed? Usually the author's opinion is
After the
stated where?
transition.
After the transition. That's right. Okay? Thank you so much. And that's a nice one, يعني I liked the discussion because it is a tricky question. Despite it was repeated, لكن it has several versions and you might be confused. I'm so sorry because I'm exceeding my time, but anyways, we are left with 3 questions only, and I guess they are manageable. What is the main purpose of the previous text? So we're talking about the main purpose, like main idea, general one. Okay, يلا يا يحيى. Go ahead, Yahya.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
Yes. Kate Chopin's The Story of an Hour was considered daring in its time. The editors of at least 2 magazines refused the story, calling it immoral. They wanted Chopin to soften her female character and to make her less independent and less unhappy in her marriage. Undaunted, Chopin continued to deal with issues of women's growth and emancipation in her writing, advancing ideas that are widely accepted today.
I ended it positively, right?
Yes.
يعني Chopin, Kate Chopin was considered يعني her story was considered to be a daring one in its time. فالeditors this one الeditors consequently as a result يعني they refused. So this is negative. They wanted her to make a certain adjustments to make her character less independent and less unhappy in her marriage. They wanted her female character in the story to be happier in her marriage and to be more dependent on her husband, to be less independent. This is the typical image of the woman at that time. Undaunted, she didn't care. Chopin, this is showing her determination, continued to deal with issues of women's growth and emancipation. Do you know the meaning of emancipation?
Emancipation, I think like
Freedom. Freedom.
no, I don't.
Yeah, freedom. Okay, you can add it
Freedom.
to your, yes, you can add it to your vocab words. In her writing, advancing ideas that are widely accepted today. Go ahead, dear, with the process of elimination, please.
Yes. A. To summarize the plot of The Story of an Hour by Kate Chopin. No, this is incorrect. They didn't summarize the plot much. It's not the main purpose. To discuss the daring and controversial nature of Kate Chopin's writing. Not really. It's not really the writing that was controversial, or I mean, the what was more daring and controversial was her response, maybe to the
We're focusing,
to
this is, yeah, we're focusing mainly on the story of an hour. The story
yeah.
of an hour وher writing يعني her ins plus her persistence to write on topics related to women, right?
Yes.
To discuss the daring and controversial nature of Kate Chopin, it's not the main purpose of the text. Or in case you are confused, يعني some people would say, maybe teacher, I can, please keep it. Okay, I'm gonna keep it in order to compare it with other choices.
Yeah, we may find a better answer.
Yes, letter C.
To highlight the rejection faced by Kate Chopin's The Story of an Hour and her persistence in addressing women's issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think this is probably the best one yet, and I think this will actually be the answer, but we need to see these still.
Okay.
To analyze the character development in the story, no, there is no character development mentioned.
No character development. Now, why would I go for C, which is actually the right answer, and not B? Because here I want the main purpose of this text. So the main purpose should be taken everything mentioned in the text, especially the beginning and the end. The beginning and the end. So if I go for letter B has nothing to do with the beginning of the text, right? إنما letter C, to highlight the rejection faced, yes, that's the beginning of the text. And her persistence, that's the end of the text. Okay? That's why. For the main purpose question, we have to focus at the beginning plus the end. طيب, if it includes also the middle, yes, this would be better, even better. So beginning and end, and sometimes they can refer to the middle within the beginning and end, or not, but the most important part is the beginning and the end. Thank you so much, يا دكتور يحيى.
Thank you, Miss. Thank you.
Anytime, dear. Let's go for another young lady. Yes, يا Hannah.
Yes, teacher.
Now we have a vocabulary in context question. First of all, I'd like to ask you, are these words familiar to you? يعني you don't have to mute your mic. يعني دايما خليكي unmuted كده.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Are they all familiar to you ولا في something unfamiliar?
Wallahi, I think only C is not familiar. I saw it before, but I think I forgot the meaning.
Okay, no
Then
problem.
it meant originally?
So you don't know this. طيب, the first step, try what you know first.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
طيب الأول try to predict طبعا. predict if you can. Can. وبعدين rely on the context clues.
Okay.
And the tone is important. The relationships in terms of the transitions. طبعا all these يعني can be taken into consideration. And if you don't know, plug each answer choice in the space or into the space. Okay, شوفي what sounds better, right? Let's go.
Yeah.
The Basco cave paintings. You muted the mic once again. Let me read it. The Basco cave paintings, detailed paintings of animals found in what is now France and dating from around 17,000 years ago are. Okay, so the Basco cave paintings are sometimes said to be emotionally powerful despite their age. Okay, that's the first part. But that's a shift. But in fact, the paintings are what precisely because of their age. So I have two contradicting pieces of information here. The paintings are sometimes said to be emotionally powerful despite their age, but in fact, the paintings are what precisely because of their age. Despite here because, and this is a contradiction. So we need an answer that is equal to emotionally powerful here. Okay, it is the link of shared humanity with the artists across so many centuries that gives of the Basco cave paintings such resonance. Such resonance, يعني because of their age. The shared humanity, emotionally powerful. So I need something that can be related to these context clues. Meticulous means careful, careful, and detailed. It's not related to emotions. Pristine, the one that you didn't know, means pure or preserved. محفوظة يعني نقية. We're not talking about how pure it is. Ingenious means like, well, ingenious, I guess, means clever, clever, ingenious. طبعا
Yeah.
yeah, are you available once again?
Yes.
Okay. طيب, I thought there is a problem with your mic. طيب, ingenious means clever. And we're talking about يعني talking about paintings. Which answer you might think يعني?
I feel affecting because it
Yes.
means like moving or touching the emotions.
Yes, exactly. Means emotionally moving. Emotionally moving. Moving. If we put it here, we can say these paintings are sometimes said to be emotionally powerful despite their age, but in fact the paintings are affecting because of their age. Okay? Not pure, not clever, not careful. Okay? This
Thanks, teacher.
I'm so sorry for the mic يعني I'm so sorry if I didn't notice يعني طيب let's go for علي. يلا يا علي. We're gonna
Mary Angel Pennington, as a chemist, a chemist who helped advance home refrigeration, undoubtedly made a substantial impact on society, but her place in our historical memory is perhaps more than that of Stephen Quolop, who invented the incredibly strong material known as Kevlar, an accomplishment for which she will long be remembered.
So, what do you think? Am I right to write a negative tone word here?
Yes, because here, since before, he said that of course her role was substantial, but then he put a contradiction. That means that the sentence after the contradiction will have a negative tone.
Amazing. طيب, permanent, what does it mean?
Means always or persistent.
Yes, excellent. Everlasting or persistent. طب, this is positive. طيب, tentative, do you know?
No.
طيب, I'll leave it. Warranted.
No.
Have you ever bought a device,
Yes.
an electronic device? طيب مش you're given كده a warranty card.
Yes.
just to secure or to tell you that if there is something wrong with the device, we can fix it for you for free. So
Yeah.
warranted means guaranteed or justified. Is it clear?
Yes.
Prominent,
Broad means prevalent.
yes, or well known. When I say you are a prominent figure, means well-known figure. Okay, this is positive and this is positive. We're left with this one that we don't know. Perhaps it's the right answer. Tentative means uncertain, and please write it down because tentative is such a very familiar SAT word. Okay, uncertain. Okay, is that clear?
Yes.
By the process of elimination, guys, we went for tentative, which is the right answer, because we relied on the transition, the tones, we predicted the tones, we tried the words that we knew first, and the one that we didn't know, طبعا we went for it since the others didn't work. طيب, in case we are answering certain questions, either writing or reading, and we come across a certain word that we are unfamiliar with, please, you should write the word down and look it up in the dictionary and put it even in a sentence of your own, a very simple sentence of your own, just to remember it. Now, I hope that this session was of any benefit to any one of you. I wish you the best of luck tomorrow. If you have any questions, yes, you're welcome to ask. Raise your hand if you want to ask about anything. And don't forget, guys, that we're gonna start our new course for June's trial immediately after May's trial. Is gonna be on Sunday, inshallah. For those who kept asking about June's course, inshallah, the advanced course in June for June's trial will start on Sunday. You can contact Miss Fadwa. For those who told me, teacher, please let us know when the course will start. Yes, I'm telling you. طيب, your questions. Yes, يا دكتور علي.
No, I raised my hand by accident.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, يا جودي.
I raised my hand by accident too.
Also, okay. Yes, yeah. Please, make sure that the ones who are raising their hands, they do have questions. They do have questions, okay? Yes, yeah. Sama, yes.
Yes, Miss. Can you please return back to the question of the novel, which is The Story of an Hour?
Yes.
Oh, yes, this one. I'm not convinced why B is wrong.
To discuss the daring and controversial nature of Kate Chopin writing in general, no. We at the beginning of the story, as I told you, at the beginning of the text, I referred to the story, and this story in particular, and this story was refused by 2 editors. There is a problem, and as a response to that problem, Chopin continued to deal with issues of women's and refused to change anything. Your answer must be referring to the beginning and the end, or the beginning, middle, and end. This is for the main purpose and main idea.
Okay, yeah, but it said here that Chopin continued to deal with issues of growth, of women growth and emancipation in her writing. So it's already stated in the last sentence in her
That's
writing.
positive. That's positive.
Yeah.
When you say that it's daring and controversial, that's negative. Here, no one is no controversy here. In the last sentence is totally positive regarding her writing. If you say daring, the word daring was about this story only. Okay, and controversial is such a negative word. Here in the last sentence, it's totally positive in terms of positive and negative. So if you go for letter B, that's gonna be overgeneralizing, and it's inaccurate when it comes to the tone of the last sentence.
Okay, so the daring theme is only related to the story, not to the
Yes.
writing, يعني.
Yes, the word
Okay.
daring is as an adjective, you know,
For the
like
story.
yes, was specifically written or was describing the story, not her writing. And even
Not
the
for writing in
writing
general.
here was mentioned positively, يعني regarding the topics of women's growth and emancipation in her writing. I didn't talk about any controversy here.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank
And
you.
this is
Thank
a
you.
trick. I congratulate you on asking this question because you might think you understood well and you're working well and correctly while you have like misconceptions. Thank you for asking. Let's go for Farida. Yes, Farida?
Yes, like I'd like to ask a question, but like it's not for the test.
Yes, dear.
Okay. I'm entering the trial of June and like I usually get like the range of 530 and 540, okay? So like what do I need to do like this month like in order to get more than 650?
Okay, Farida, if you get less than 600, this means that you have a problem with your basics. Because if you are able to answer module 1 completely right, or at least 90% of it or 80% of it correctly, the first module, then you will exceed 600 in the second module. يعني in your score, in your total score, you will exceed that. But if you don't do well in module 1, your score, no matter how well you answer in module 2, you will never exceed 600. Okay? فthis يعني if you are not doing well in module 1, this means that you guys, or يعني I'm talking generally, you have a problem with your basics. You either didn't study the basics well, or you didn't apply the basics well, or in the advanced courses you were not given reliable materials, you were not able to be trained well. That's why your score isn't increasing, or it doesn't exceed 600. You have to, the solution is that you have to review all the basics once again. No problem, don't get bored, because you might think you know but you don't. Okay,
Like
repeat studying very well. Make sure that the resources of your basics are reliable, because let me say I'm suffering from the weak basics. I see students uh, I see very I don't know, I don't want to blame anyone, بس the basics are not that good or strong enough. Why? Because I see in the test solving courses many students from different places, different schools, different levels. When they really have good basics and strong ones, they understand what I say. They don't need, I let many students to retake the basics in the intensified course for 14 days, just because they don't know, they fail to answer, or they fail to tell me uh, the reliable structure, the reliable strategies they learned. They don't even have strategies to apply. فالسو كمان certain rules they have no idea about, or they didn't study well. Really, please try to care a lot about the basics, and then once you're done with a certain lesson with its basics, you go and apply, answering 20, 25 questions, 30 questions related to that lesson only, of different levels, easy, medium, hard, till you're done with each lesson and then go for a new lesson, and so on till you're done with all the lessons you took in the basics. And then بقى start يعني answering confidently, more confidently, the real questions you must train on before any trial. احنا we don't answer the practice tests before the trials. Practice tests are answered during the basics. No, يعني none of the practice questions will be there in any trial. You must deal with real questions only in the advanced courses. Okay?
Okay, I actually took the basics like twice, and also I took the advanced course twice. Um, so I don't know, like I should still like revise on the basics or not.
Yeah, no problem. Revise once again. Revise once again. And answer the questions I told you about. يعني for each lesson answer 20 to 30 questions. Then answer بقى the real questions. يعني many real questions from the previous trials. This is the way. This is the best way.
Like if I like solve it a full exam like every day, and also like the good thing in Blue Book that if I took a test, it tells me like my weak points in the English, so
Yes,
I can
no,
do it
no,
in the question bank, you know. So
yes,
if I so for example like 30 questions every day in the question bank and solve a full test without like having to take like the basics course again, because I'm pretty
no
sure I don't
problem.
have any question that any problem in the basics. It's just like the way in solving the questions in the test. So if I did
So
that, I'm gonna be
the
okay.
listen, ya Farida, if you fail to apply what what you've been taught in the basics, then you didn't study the strategies well. يعني all what we're doing in the advanced courses is that we apply the strategies and the rules we have been studying in the basics. If there is a gap between what you've been studying and the way you apply what you've studied, then يعني there is a problem. يعني there is a problem. If you know the basics very well, then why aren't you able to apply them correctly? يعني where is especially that you didn't exceed 600. It's either you weren't given the basics well, or you didn't study well, or the material given to you in the advanced course wasn't that great, because you weren't offered enough material for you to apply what you've been studying in the basic course. There must be something wrong, either in the way of your studying, or كمان there is something else. الستريس psychological factors. If you are stressed, if you don't sleep well the night before the trial, this is also this matters. Okay, try to find the weakness. فين الويكنس؟ فين المشكلة بالظبط؟ you're the one who can decide. Okay.
Okay.
طيب يا مريم
So
anytime dear. مريم ياسين سوري يا أحمد. مريم
بس هو ازاي يعني what is the best way to solve البوتري لأنه يعني بخبص لي
ما هو يعني it's either main idea ولا main purpose ولا underline the portion. anyways let me give you a piece of advice or a piece of good news. إنه poetry I didn't see any poetry questions in the real tests for several trials. يعني I haven't seen that. The poetry appeared in practice tests only, and one of the trials, that's all. يعني one trial only, and the question was very manageable. You apply. It's not about poetry. Poetry is like a text, but it's in a different form. If you go for the main idea, يبقى okay, you will focus on the beginning and the end. A main purpose, beginning and the end. Underlined portion, then you will focus on the underlined portion together with the context before and after. the tone and the transitions and all what you're applying on the text, you will apply on the poetry. And I wish if I can find one real uh, question related to one real.
بس هو أنا معايا سؤال بس مش متأكدة إذا هو real
No,
ولا.
it's not real. Hamza showed it to me. It's not real. Don't go for any guys. يعني I'm telling you not to answer the practice test خلاص anymore. يعني in case you didn't cover them in the basics. خلاص the before the trial no other sources to be answered except the real tests only. If you're gonna answer practice tests from the college board, I mean the questions that will never be recycled, it's a waste of time. Unless you don't have enough material. يعني لو أنا مش عندي teacher بيجيب لي ال real questions أو بيعلمني على real questions، التيتشر ده ما عندوش resources كده، أوكي خلاص you will go for the practice test because you have no other choice. إنما don't ever try to answer questions from any resources any resources مهما كانت، اللي هو شبه الريل، شبه مش عارفة ايه composed by ايه. اوعوا لانه هيشتتكوا، هيبعدكوا عن الاسلوب السات. it's not gonna be ever recycled it's a waste of time.
تمام، شكرا يا مس.
عفوا. احمد فتحي.
Teacher,
Teacher,
أنا
can you
I'm so sorry.
sorry.
Yes, Ahmed.
Teacher, can you
أنا
back to question number 2 to I just want to take screenshot for the notes.
Okay, yes, go ahead. Yes, let me minimize it for you. Yes, the other account with Ahmed.
أنا ريماس بس إنه باسم أخويا.
Yes, يا ريماس.
كنت عايزة حضرتك ترجعي بس question number 6 تقريبا، هو
Thank you,
entrance
teacher.
question.
Anytime. Yes.
بس عايزة أخد سكرين شوت.
بس I guess إنه إحنا ال annotations اتمسحت، أنا آسفة جدا يعني. بس
عادي أكيد.
I'm gonna
ممكن بس
send
حضرتك تقولي لي الأنسر إيه؟
الأنسر يا ستي كانت just a second. It's B, I guess. Yes, B.
أوكي خلاص أوكي.
Anytime.
ممكن معلش I'm so sorry question number 2 تاني عشان ملحقتش أخد سكرين شوت.
2, okay. Yes, I'll send you the annotations inshallah. I'll send you for everyone.
خلاص أوكي thank you so much.
Anytime, dear. Thank you so much, guys. I wish يعني you can. Yes, يا فواز. Yes,
Miss, can you go to question 6?
yes.
Miss, in the text, it is not mentioned that it is able to withstand mechanical stress.
No. Lower creep rate, a measure of the rate at which stress exposed material deforms at a constant temperature and load. There is a reference to stress. If it is, but this is an inference question. If it's showing a lower minimum creep rate. يعني ايه؟ الكريب ريت ده بيجي منين؟ بسبب الستريس. right؟ بسبب
Yeah.
الستريس والtemperature. if the rate, this creep rate got minimized, this means that it's able to resist, يعني it's performing well, it's able to resist the stress and deals with the temperature, right?
Yeah.
That's why. يعني
Okay,
this
thank
is
you.
logical. يعني this is logical completion. If the creep rate is minimized, this means it's referring to a good performance. Good performance in terms of stress, يعني it manages the stress. Good performance in terms of temperature, يعني it can overcome the elevated temperature to a great extent. Is that clear?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, anytime. Yes, يا يمنى.
Yes, hello, Miss.
Hi, dear.
I wanted to ask, for example, if I get a vocabulary question and I don't know like two or more of the words, they've never came past me. What can I do?
guess يعني try بصي read it كده plug each one into the in the context and it's gonna be a mere luck بقى يعني with mere luck يعني try your information regarding the suffixes and prefixes if this can help you يعني مثلا pro usually refers to something positive. I want here
Yes.
negative. فاeven if you don't know the meaning of prominent, this part can help you that know that this is a positive word, not negative one, right?
Yes.
يعني try as much as you can when it comes to يعني prefixes and suffixes. This can help. If nothing at all, خلاص, just make an educated guess or make a guess, a mere guess, by reading the text with each answer choice and see what might sound correct, because you're not sure. So you don't want to waste your time trying to think of something you've never seen before. In order to save its time for a more challenging question.
Okay, thank you. I just have one more question, sorry.
Mhm.
When we have these super long passages and that come in the middle of the module 2, for example, how can and there's just so much things that we can't understand, yani, because we've already our brain is already overworked. Is there some sort of strategy, because I came in late, that we can use in order to break it
Yes,
down?
I did that. يعني when I read a long text, I started focusing on certain familiar words in each sentence, and I just I wrote them down. Okay, بس the annotations have gone. I wrote certain words from each sentence in order to avoid rereading the text. I focus on the words that I totally understand and they can refer to the tone. And then the most important part is usually related to the last part. I make sure that I understand the last part very well, its key elements, its tone, and I match what I've read at the end with the best answer choice. And I eliminate any extreme answers, anything that is not including any of the key elements I've jotted down, and so on. Okay. most of the time we skim the first part, write some notes. Some notes, not like long sentences, only few symbols, letters, words. You don't even have to write complete words or phrases. Just think things that can save your time, and not to let you reread the text once more, because definitely you will forget what you've read when you reach the end of the text. That's all. And by the process of elimination, you really get to the right answer with easily.
Okay, thank you so much.
Anytime. Layla, yes, yeah, Layla.
Teacher, I didn't take basics before, but I got 600 in one of my trials. And I'm going for the June trial with you. Do I need to study the basics?
بصي definitely you need to study the basics, or at least try to familiarize yourself with each type of question and how we deal with it. What are the basic rules? Because if you are good at reading, okay, if you didn't take basics at all and you reached 600, this means that you have a problem not with reading but with writing, because writing must be studied by heart for the sake of its rules. The rules must be studied. There are many tricks that you must be familiar with in order to raise your score. Are you a good reader? You read a lot, or you
Yeah.
used to read a lot when you were young?
Yes.
Yes, that's why I told you, your problem might not be with reading but with writing. at least the writing rules must be studied by heart.
Where do I study the basics from?
The base I can send you the book that I compose يعني I composed or compiled. I put all the rules in it and all the strategies and so on. You can just text me privately and I can send it to you.
I don't have your number.
Which one? You texted Miss Fadwa?
Yes.
Okay, so you ask her. يعني tell
Okay.
her I want the book of basics Miss Nermeen told me about in the session. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, anytime. Yes, Mariam. Yes, ya Ali. You still have a question?
Yes. Sometimes when the passages come in Old English, I find it hard to read.
We have how many questions are يعني written in Old English? You can count them on one hand. يعني 2 or 3 and you are familiar with them خلاص. You don't have a problem. Okay, just familiarize yourself with the words you've seen in these questions. That's all. يعني digital SAT has to do with modern language, not old language. Yes, يا مريم.
Yes, hi miss.
Hi dear.
miss أنا دلوقتي إن شاء الله هدخل trial في شهر 10 وأنا كنت خدت البيسكس بس ما خدتش advanced عشان كده دخلت الماي كورس بس أنا ناوية أخد في 8 و9 ومش عارفة أنا أخد دلوقتي جون دي ولا مش هتبقى بالنسبة لي يعني مش هتفيدني قوي.
بصي هقولك على حاجة يا مريم. if you stop يعني practicing you will forget يعني and you will need to take the basics once more. فلا I would recommend that you keep practicing in order not to يعني بالظبط هو المخ زي it's a muscle يعني you have to keep training it in order not to lose its flexibility. اوكي بدل ما ترجعي مستواكي تاني ونرجع بقى يبقى في rigidity في الحل لا ايه ده انا حاسه ان انا كده لا لازم ادخل تاني اراجع البيسكس. but this always happens يعني اسأليني انا. that's all.
Okay, thank you miss.
anytime. لوجين تامر. yes.
Miss, I wanted to know if this session is going to be uploaded on YouTube or if its recording
Yes.
is going to be sent.
yes on YouTube and send to the group. yes.
Okay, when exactly is it? Because I want to rewatch it today.
Yes, now but يعني I have to end the session. يلا احنا خدنا وقت كتير قوي. thank you so much guys and إن شاء الله I will upload it يعني علشان الناس اللي ما حضرتش تقدر تشوف. thank you so much و good luck و I wish you the best of luck tomorrow إن شاء الله. bye.